Good evening. Welcome to the Jon Gaunt Show. Starmer, failing UK, RAF Sabotage, migrant flood. Is there an enemy within? And of course, since I've just come on air, Iran have responded and put missiles into Qatar, into American air bases in Qatar and other bases in the region. Are we on the verge of World War III? What's your opinion? So, good evening. My name is Jon Gaunt. Absolute shocking developments unfolding right now. Let's go through the history of what's happened over the last couple of days, though. RAF aircraft sabotage, and I'm using the word sabotage, not vandalised, £30 million worth of damage on UK soil, and so far not a single arrest. The government say they're going to clamp down, though, on the Palestinian movement, but they were still allowed to protest in London today. And you know what I thought the scary thing was? How many people went to it? How many of them had Palestinian flags? I'm sorry, these people are the enemy within. We've still got migrants flooding in by the thousands as our government stays silent. In fact, our government has stayed silent on everything. Starmer wasn't even consulted by Trump on the bombing of Iran. And since then, if you listen to every government minister who's been on the TV or radio today, none of them are saying, we support the United States. They've all used fancy words, but they haven't committed to it. Well, what are these cowards? What are these spineless amoebas going to do now as the you-know-what hits the fan? Are they going to be with America, or are they going to try and deal with it with the coalition of the useless in England? The bottom line is with Iran, the time for negotiations are over, especially now that they've put missiles into US air bases in the region. And I think the time is over for all this mollycoddling around the Palestinian protesters. We've put up with it for 2 or 3 years. I'm not saying they're all Hamas supporters, but look at the way they've put London in standstill at weekends. Jewish people afraid to go into town. The way they've desecrated our monuments. Who do these people think they are? If you think your country's so good, F off back there, because we've had enough. Meanwhile, the migrants are flooding in by the thousands, and our government are doing nothing to stop it. Over 1,000 last weekend. Is there an enemy within? Have the government, successive governments, created a situation now where we've got an enemy within? I can't remember any other protest groups getting onto an airfield and doing what these idiots have done at Brize Norton. And people moaning and saying it's down to the woman who was in charge, her fault. I know Brize Norton really well. It's about an 11-mile radius. There should be guards all around it. This is a systemic failing. And these bozos thought it was okay to go on with motorized scooters and spray paint inside the engines of these aircraft. And the most important question tonight is this one. Is Starmer failing to keep you safe? He said the first priority of the government, the first priority of his, is to keep us all safe. Pakistani Muslim rape gangs, that's keeping us safe. Now we've got migrants who have been raping and sexually assaulting young women in our country. We've clearly got people who think that Palestine, that we shouldn't now be bombing Iran, and they're confusing all these things together. I say get these people off the street, wash them off the streets. We don't want it. I don't mind protest if you're being sensible. It's when you go to the extreme of using terror. And I say attacking our military aircraft whilst we're in a war situation, that is terrorism. The nonsense of prescribing, I think that's all them trying to, what's her name? Yvette Cooper and Starmer and Lammy, useless, deflect attention from themselves. And you should also ask yourself this question. Why did Starmer, our Prime Minister, not go to the Commons today, which he's meant to do, and give an update on what happened this weekend? I.e., America bombed. No, we weren't consulted. Where do you stand? He didn't go because he knew an MP would put him on the spot and say, are you supporting the bombing? Because clearly they're not. That's why they're not actually saying yes or no. Cowardly behavior. But what do you expect from Starmer? I'm so angry about it, I can hardly work up the stress on it. I want your opinion, please. And the situation is escalating very, very fast. So we've had RAF Sabotage. We've got a migrant surge, which is totally out of control down at Dover. We've got 50,000 people now in hotels with squeezy soap. And we've got no real leadership from Starmer. He didn't go to the Commons. He was too busy. Hang on a minute. He was too busy to go to the Commons and talk about the bombing this weekend. He's not really made a proper comment about Brize Norton. He should have made a comment about that in the Commons today. He sent fat boy Jaffa cake eating Lammy instead. Let me tell you where he was. Meeting his best buddy, Zelensky. He's had a meeting with him today. Why? And he had to go and see the king as well, put him in the picture. Fair enough. But there must have been a 10-minute window when Starmer could have addressed us through the proper channels, which is the House of Commons, and therefore tell us where he is. But I'm telling you, he isn't standing with the USA at the moment. He's putting us in a very difficult position. So I say Starmer has failed to keep the United Kingdom safe. Am I going too far? I'd like your opinion, please. Pick up your comment now. I need to pick up your phone. Get on that typewriter, get on that computer, and tell me what you think. Carol Walker is saying Qatar. Yes, they've attacked Qatar, but it's not just Qatar, Carol. They've attacked 5 or 6 different bases. Now, we have got to be careful not to get carried away, because the Americans have got the technology and they'll just shoot these things out of the sky, and so have the Israelis. But it is now escalating. And I say, bring it on. I really say, bring it on. I say, let's fight the enemy. Let's recognize who the enemy are and fight them. And you know what? I'd go further. I say, let's fight them abroad and fight them here at home. I've had so many left-wing idiots today talking about Qatar. No, we should talk to them. It's diplomacy. But no wonder, because this is what the idiot, the coward, Starmer has been putting forward. He is such a human rights lawyer, he can't let go of his past. That's what the problem is. He just can't realise that actually there is no more of this on the left-hand list, the right-hand list. Starmer is failing to keep the UK safe because he's a lawyer, not a leader. There is a massive UK security crisis at the moment. When soap dodgers can get on to Brize Norton, not just get on, but get right up to the planes, spray paint from a fire extinguisher into the engines of our planes. And ironically, these planes have been taking aid to Gaza. They've actually been helping the very people who these people are protesting about. This is how moronic they are. And then today they were shouting from the river to the sea on London streets, being anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic. And did you see the bloke who was dressed in the Auschwitz gear? He had what they made the Jews wear in Auschwitz. And he's standing there. That was his protest. Fat guy doing it. He was just disgusting. And how much RAF sabotage are we going to take? How much more of a migrant flood are we going to take? Have we or have they created an enemy within in the UK? Has he made us unsafe? So if you want to talk, here's the things I want to talk about. RAF Brize Norton being sabotaged and no arrest. How come they haven't found out who it is yet? It can't be that difficult. Find them, arrest them, put them on remand, and then give them a trial and then lock them up and throw away the key. That's what I say. Palestine Action. How can they be allowed to stage huge protests and get thousands on the streets today in London and shout anti-Jewish slogans? How are they allowed to do it? Well, it's also because Yvette Cooper, Keir Starmer's best mate, she's the Home Secretary. Today she said, oh, yes, we are going to prohibit them. Oh, by the way, Nigel Farage from Reform UK was the first person to say we've got to make them a terrorist activity, a terrorist unit, the Palestine Action idiots, right? Starmer picks up on this over the weekend. She can't do it till next week. So today we had the ridiculous situation where an organisation that will be banned from protesting next week because they will be seen as if they're Hamas or Hezbollah, a terrorist organisation. I'm not necessarily even in agreement with this, but she's allowed them to protest today because they can't get their act together. I know Starmer said, I'm not going to work Friday evenings and weekends. I'm going to spend the time with my family. It's ludicrous what is going on. We are under attack. He said his first duty, and it's on the board behind me, his first duty was the protection of us. He says he wants to make us safe and secure. So my next question, do you feel safe and secure? What do you think about the fact that 1,000 migrants have come in the last 2 days? That's not even today. That's Sunday and Saturday. And what do you make of the fact now that Trump obviously doesn't trust Starmer, so he bombed Iran without consulting him? I don't blame him. I believe there's an enemy within. Unfortunately, some of that enemy in some way, shape and form is in our parliament, and even worse, I think it's in our cabinet. And then not to even address the Commons today. Come on, these are shocking developments for our democracy. You must have a say. Let me hear what you want to talk about. My name's Jon Gaunt. It's the Jon Gaunt podcast here every single night, Monday to Thursdays at 6:30. Please tell all your friends. Please restream the thing at the show as it's going out. Press the like button if you're enjoying it. It all helps the algorithm. And we'll talk about if you want to donate. You should know how to donate by now. But if you know how to do it, do it. If you don't, please think about it tonight. You can do it by sending me an award here on YouTube. And if you're listening on a podcast, check out Jon Gaunt TV on YouTube, where you'll find all my videos. Right. Let's take some comments. John, you call immigrants soldiers of fighting age. I say, that is what they are. Open your eyes. I know. I call them immigrants of fighting age. It's the same in Nigel. When I need tips on broadcasting, I'll ask. Until then, shut up. And watching Iran attack Qatar and Iran US bases on TV. What are your thoughts on what Trump will do next? Says Carol Walker. Well, I trust he'll bomb their governments back to the Stone Age, which, let's face it, that's where they want to live, the majority of them. This is now a declaration of war. Iran were warned, even fat boy Jaffa cake eating Lammy, even though he's spitting out biscuit crumbs when he said it, he said, don't do a reprisal for the nuclear attack, because if you do, all hell will break loose. Well, it will. It will. And what do I think? I think Trump was bang on the money attacking those nuclear sites. Absolutely bang on the money. Nigel, now you're making a better point. He says they can attack within. That's correct. That's because lousy governments in this country have allowed people to come and live here. They haven't said they've got to fit in. They've lived in their own communities. Not all migrants, not even all Muslims, but a significant number. And that's going to come and bite us on the arse. If you were to say to Starmer, of the 50,000 people in migrant hotels, I just wish I was back on mainstream radio and I could get them in my studio, I'd say, How many of those 50,000 do you know the names of and the backgrounds of? And I'd watch them squirm and shit their pants because they wouldn't have an answer. They wouldn't have an answer. And that's what they've done to our country. What's this he says? Must keep us safe and secure. Well, I don't feel safe and secure. Maggie Young, one of my regulars here on Facebook, says, our Prime Minister is not listening to his people. Well, not his people, Maggie. You mean the people. And keeps running and hiding. We all feel insecure. Philip Clapperton says, so true. And that is what is happening. He's gone missing today. Did you see him on any of the programs? He did that video thing about, I just want to reassure you. How can we take reassurance from an arsehole who didn't even get consulted on whether our number one ally, the United States of America, was going to send bombers into Iran? He didn't get consulted. Do you know why, Starmer? Because you can't be trusted. You're a lawyer, not a leader. You are a lawyer, not a leader. And that is the problem. Starmer's failing to keep the UK safe. There is a massive security crisis here in the UK. How are we ever? Why should we put up with RAF sabotage? Answer is we shouldn't. We shouldn't. No one should ever. We should shoot on sight. Anybody who goes onto any of our military bases at the moment, bang. You can ask questions later. Keep out. Whilst we're talking about keep out, how are we going to stop the migrant flood? And do you now believe there is an enemy within? Because I do. Let's take some more callers. Fraser Ford says, very great points. Thank you, Fraser, if you're talking about me. Maggie Morley on Facebook says, you can't negotiate with a terrorist regime. Correct. You can't. What's this? Chopper MK50. History has a habit of repeating itself. Weak leadership and appeasement led to World War II. Strength, decisiveness, and action got us out of it. If this escalates much more, Nigel Farage may get his chance soon. I think that's a very good point, Chopper. We cannot keep appeasing these people. I mean, I wonder whether Starmer was doing one of his videos, you know, and this one was going to have him on the steps of an aeroplane with a piece of white paper telling us he's got peace in our time. I tell you what he is doing. He's taking the peace out of every single one of us. The first priority, the first job of any government is to keep us safe and secure. Come on, tell me, are you safe and secure? How do you want Trump to react? I think he'll be a bit measured. I think he'll wait and see whether they dealt with the incoming missiles in Qatar and in the other countries. And then all hell will break loose. But I hope he does it in a targeted way. He says he knows where the Mad Mullah is. In we go. We did it with Osama bin Laden, and that was even Obama who did that. He's got to be liquidated. Do you agree? Not Starmer. Mind you, James Shearer says Starmer, that was a joke, by the way. Starmer is a traitor. I'm coming to that conclusion myself. It's as if he's purposely running our country into the ground. Kathy W says, what worries me on YouTube is if we go to war, we'll end up with even more immigrants, more fighting age men. Well, yeah, because we've got no one to control our borders, but they're not doing it in a moment, are they? By the way, I don't blame the boys and girls of border control. I blame the government. I blame people like Starmer. I blame Rishi Sunak. We're going to stop the boats. We're going to smash the gangs. You can smash a bloody avocado, as I keep saying, Starmer. You're useless. Please, just for yourself and the rest of us, resign. You miserable cretin. Are you with me or are you against me? Don't forget, if you want to fund me, you can go to www. It's on the bottom of the screen now. www.buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt. And you can either buy a coffee or a beer, whatever you want to describe it as, a £5 a go. Last night we had 2 or 3 people buying me 3 coffees. That's really brilliant. If I can keep up that average, then I could almost feed myself and keep doing the shows and developing them. And of course, you can also do one of these things, which I keep forgetting the names of, but it's the little $sign underneath the video on YouTube. If you press that, you can give me a reward. I think it's anything from a couple of quid upwards. A lot of people have been given a tenner. Thank you very much indeed. We are fully independent. We have got some advertisements now, as you know, but it's a trickle of money, literally a trickle of money. Long term, we'll get sponsors. That's what I did before. So the show will be sponsored by somebody or 2 or 3 different companies. And then I start to make a living, and it makes everything easier. I am doing it to rebuild my career. I think my voice is important to be heard, because I've been watching programs today. There are notable exceptions. Martin Daubney is doing a brilliant show on GB News, but most of the talk radio, I'm talking about the genre that you hear, is rubbish, cliche-ridden rubbish. And they are afraid to actually say it as it is because of Ofcom. And don't forget who was the first person who was cancelled in this country on the radio? Gaunty. So I'm telling you as it is. If you don't like it, you can send a message in and have a go at me. That's the way it goes. Simple as that. So if you'd like to help me, please do. I just read that one. Tony Hodgkinson, a jellyfish has more backbone than Starmer. Correct, hasn't got one. I need to buy more big batteries. Well, for Fraser, don't start overreacting. We are going to win. We are going to win. Rent a mob, just stop oil, Extinction Rebellion, Palestine Action, any bandwagon these soap dodgers jump on it. Correct. Do you know what? I'd like to give them what they want. A load of them go, gays, queers, lesbians, trans for Palestine. Well, let's take them over there, give them to Hamas, right, and say, now say it. Now go and stand on the top of that building and say it. Ooh, these people are liberal twits. And that guy today with the Auschwitz uniform on, how sick is that? How sick is that? Even if you believe in your cause, you shouldn't be bringing up the Jewish genocide. I don't like what Israel has done. But then I'm not an Israeli. I didn't see their beautiful, it wasn't my beautiful girls who got raped and mutilated on that day. Was it? If it had been, I'd probably be like them. And so would you. So don't effing lie to me. Don't come over as all moral, right? Iran, we have to wipe that leadership, the mad mullahs, off the face of the earth. The Iranian people, have you noticed how the BBC and some of the mainstream organisations are now reporting it? They're saying, no, we've got the feeling people want to say more. Too right, they want to say more. They don't want to live under that foul fascist regime. They want to be like they were in the 70s when they used to come to Coventry on their holidays to go around the Peugeot factory. I'm not joking. We used to have loads of them. I'm not saying it was perfect then either, because it wasn't, because they were living under a dictatorship with the Tsar. But at least the women could be women. Are you with me or against me? We've got to stop this. And we certainly don't want it in our country. Phil Bilton's, I've just done that one. Fraser Ford says, keep your chin up, John. You're doing great work. I am, you're right. Somebody's just donated a £5. It's Big Steve. Thanks, Steve. Evening, John. You're still the best, and I agree with you. I've just started to listen to Simplest Fat podcast to stop diabetes, as I'm now pre-diabetic. Keep going. Are they still up? Well, you won't go far wrong if you follow them. I must admit. I will be honest with you, Steve, and say it's simple. Cut out the carbs. Don't eat bread. Don't drink too much beer. Don't eat fruit. And walk. That's the answer for diabetes, my friend. But Steve, thank you very much indeed. Lots of people asking me, would you ever start it up again? It was just such hard work, and I got really ill. Not by following the diet, by the way. I remember that when I was in the hospital, when I was dying. I said, Is this related to what I've been eating and how I've been living? No. You could have got this regardless. I tell you what it was related to, being a bloke, got a problem, not going to the doctors. That's what it's related to. And no matter how many of my mates have died recently, it's always the similar story. Oh, I didn't go. Why are we so scared of the bloody quacks? We're meant to be men. Maybe do a podcast on that one day. Let's take some more. Lisa Carville, she's one of my oldest fans. She's on Facebook tonight. Trump should blow their leader into smithereens where he can meet his 76 virgins. I agree. And then she says on the second one, our Prime Minister should resign as a pacifist. Well, he is, basically. I don't even think he's a pacifist. A lot of pacifists are brave people. They stand for where they stand and they say that this is what I am. Starmer is a duplicitous, two-faced, hypocritical, politically correct, woke clown. That's what he is. And he's somehow become the Prime Minister and now he's shitting his pants because he can't do the job. He can't stand up. 1 minute he's licking Donald Trump, then next minute he's a bit distasteful, isn't he, Donald? He's a bit this, he's a bit that. Donald Trump is going to save your ass. Did you see the bit when they tried to brief out today? Oh, yeah, the Prime Minister has been speaking to Mr. Trump and President Trump overnight. I bet a conversation went like this. Yeah, who is it? I'm having a Coke. Oh, hello, it's Keir Starmer here. Phone down, right? I'm dealing with the big stuff, Keir. I haven't got time to talk to you, you human rights lawyer. You want to get some more people out of Guantanamo? Don't forget, Keir Starmer also defended people who vandalised, sabotaged RAF property in the past. This man isn't our leader. No one's going to go over the top into battle. Then he talks about conscription. He talks about to Zelensky, oh, we're right behind you. There might be some people behind you, sorry, Keir, but not most people. Most blokes aren't behind you. Most blokes are definitely not behind you, Keir. And they don't want you behind them either. What they want to do is live their lives in peace. And sometimes you have to be strong to get peace, Keir. Do you understand that? And Keir, are you still bragging about being the Director of Public Prosecutions? Because this scandal about the abuse is clearly going to go right back through the Labour years. Is it a coincidence that it's only Labour councillors who didn't want a public inquiry? That's odd, isn't it? Isn't it odd also that London hasn't had any child sexual exploitation of young white girls? You know what I think? Bullshit. That's what I think. And I think there's a lot of people within Labour who are scared stiff about what might come out. Just my view. If you disagree, get in touch. Or not get in touch. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care. Denise Deacon, she's another regular. She's on YouTube tonight. When are we all going to take to the streets demanding Starmer's resignation and another general election? We are the laughing stock of the world. Denise, I agree with you entirely. But we've got more important things to do in the moment. We've got to support our armed forces. We've got to say how brilliant we are. We've got to celebrate those American planes that went in. The technology is out of this world. But the situation's escalating fast. RAF Sabotage, Migrant, surge. I mean, it's a flood, isn't it? It's an invasion. And zero leadership from Starmer. Everything that Starmer says is the opposite of what the people think. You know, when he talks about Farage and he says, oh, he's a populist, and that's a criticism. I mean, I'd have thought being popular, which is the definition of being a populist, would be an advantage in politics. Not in Starmer's warped world. No, it isn't. So he's the opposite. So everything that Starmer says, it's a bucket of shit. No one's interested. And so no matter now what he says on the telly or in one of his little videos, no one's going to believe you. Starmer, you are finished. You have failed now in the fundamental thing that you bragged about, to keep Britain safe. Come on, drop your comments below. I'm reading them out live. Starmer, failing to keep the UK safe. Am I being unfair? What about the UK security crisis? What about this sabotage of RAF planes? And what about Trump saying, I don't need to ask you, Starmer. You're insignificant. What does that say about the state of Britain today? And we've got to lay the blame for that at people like Sunak as well, and Boris, and the lettuce, Liz Truss. They have put us so far down the line. Yeah? There's no Rule Britannia anymore. There's no Great Britain. We're Standard Britain, like getting a standard class train ticket. These people have wrecked our country, and you know what? We've let them. But Starmer and Trump spoke last night, says Graham Fletcher, and agreed the way forward, as reported by all outlets. Yeah. I trust you're being sarcastic, Graham. But that's true, yes. That is what the lamestream media is telling you. Which is another reason why bunging a $5 to Gaunty now to keep these podcasts going is a pretty good investment. Not just in terms of enjoyment, but in terms of making an alternative to what they're trying to pump into you. They'll close me down eventually. Maybe I'll go to prison. I doubt it, but there we are. Labour Party equals the appeasement party, says Maggie Morley. Maggie, I agree with you. Andrew Duncan, I'm ex-army, 62 years of age, and have done stag at many depots. What does that mean? Stag. It must mean... What does it mean? I can tell you back then, these terrorists, as that is what they are, would not have got away with it. I say no more. Well said, Andrew. Shoot on sight, I guess, is what you're on about. That's what should be happening. Philip Powell, now I'm going to disagree with you slightly. Enoch Powell tried to warn the country what was happening to our great country, and it ruined his career as a politician. Every politician, every prime minister has been useless for years. I don't think Enoch was totally true, but Enoch Powell is an interesting guy because, of course, he was the one who actually went and brought the West Indians over. He was Minister of Health, and I think his speech was misinterpreted, but there were parts that were wrong. But it's a conversation for another day. Starmer is nothing like a strong leader, says Peter Adams. He needs to go, but the big problem is who will take his place. Rachel from Accounts, Rachel Thieves, David Lammy, behave yourself, Angela Rayner, Diane Abbott. The next election will be interesting. Peter, I've told you a million times who'll be taking over. It's your main man, Nigel Farage. I thought his scheme today, his Robin Hood scheme, which I know they're slagging off already, I thought it was quite a good idea. Rich people want to come and live here, do it. Other countries do it. And if you can redistribute some of that wealth, good on you. Poor Maggie must be spinning, says Lisa. How can the protesters every week be allowed to march through our capital city waving foreign flags? Absolutely, Lisa. I'm sure if Sadiq Khan wasn't Mayor of London, it wouldn't happen. He's been a bit quiet, hasn't he? I wonder when he's going to come out in support of the enemy. It can't be very much longer. Israel and America need to go in hard now. Exactly. And finish the Iranian regime once and for all. They are truly evil and have been a thorn in the side of the world in the Middle East for decades, says CBR 99. The problem is CBR 99 is that because of the Iraq war, and to a large extent, to a bit of an extent, Afghanistan as well, there's just a worry that they that will get involved in regime change. Right? I actually think the Iranians will sort it themselves, but we have to take out the main man, the Mad Mullah. I think that might happen tonight. I'm praying it does. I'll be staying up tonight to watch it. I tell you what, people keep asking me, do you want to work in the mainstream? I always say no. I would like to. On a day like today, when it's breaking news, there's nothing better, honestly. It's the equivalent of a hard-on for a radio broadcaster Stuff's coming in from all over the place. You're watching all the TV screens. I remember when 7/7 happened. I remember when 9/11 happened. I was in London at the time. And all the Vauxhall, closure of Vauxhall and the strike, I won all my Sonys for. Brilliant. I love that kind of live reaction radio. And dare I say it, I think I was pretty good at it. Anyway, Gaunty, stop moaning. One day you'll get a job. Andrew Duncan, thank you, my friend. He's given me £2 on a super sticker on YouTube. You are a hero. Every penny counts. Thank you. David Edwards, vote UKIP. Don't fall for reform. Here we go. Don't fall for reform. Nigel Garage just wants to be in the Conservatives. Well, maybe, David, and I don't want to prick your balloon, but you're not going to do it with UKIP, mate. UKIP have had their day. I bought John a few beers last night. Come on, everyone. Let's get him back on national radio, says Peter Adams. Hey, Peter, keep your ambitions in a bit, but thank you. You did buy me 3 beers last night, and you live in Hungary, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much indeed. 15 quid in the pot. Superb. If you want to do what Peter did, it's www.buymeabeer. I forgot what it was. buymeacoffee.com/Jon Gaunt, and then you can choose to buy a beer or buy a coffee. It's 5 quid a shot. As I say, people mostly do 3, but it's up to you. Everything else. Thank you very much indeed. I've just realised the genius of this government. If the Iran-US situation worsens, Iran will need conscription, and then we'll want all their people back. We can only hope and pray. According to reports from the US experts, no one was consulted, as they wanted to keep the raid a covert operation and couldn't risk the operation. Yeah, that's the spin from some in the mainstream, and I think in our government. But the bottom line is they didn't trust Starmer. Starmer had that meeting, if you remember, in the White House with Trump, and then he came back and he has his own meetings with the EU. If I was Trump, the most powerful man in the world, and I saw this little bank clerk just acting like the big un, Billy Big Bollocks, I wouldn't be amused. I would not be amused, and I certainly wouldn't be telling him what I'm going to do. I certainly wouldn't tell David Lammy, who previously had accused me of being a member of the KKK. No matter how many Jaffa cakes you shared with me. I love Jaffa cakes. I love Jaffa cakes. I'm not fat. Have you I think he must be on a fat jab because he has lost a bit of weight. Well, I've done you, Andrew Duncan. Thank you. Lord Carbarkin, you'll never find me behind Starmer. Stop it. Gaunty, stag means guard duty. Thank you for telling me. I'm sorry for being a moron. Maggie Morley says, breaking news, John. Iran attacks American military bases in Qatar. Yeah, that was happening, wasn't it? I don't know if that's just happened, but thank you. Maggie Young says, I bought you a beer tonight. Well deserved. Maggie, you're a sweetheart. Thank you very much indeed. I tell you one thing that has happened tonight. We've only had 14 likes. We normally get more than that. Don't forget, if you're listening on the podcast, if you then watch the video later, it's the perfect solution if you've got insomnia. You can watch it in bed on your phone. I keep meeting people. I was at that Ashley Giles charity do, and a lady said to me, oh, I watch you every night when I go to bed. I said, you what? She said, yeah, it's great now you're on YouTube. I watch all your YouTubes on my phone when I'm in bed when the husband's snoring. I thought that's some kind of breakthrough. She was similar age to me, maybe even a little bit older. But it's weird, isn't it? See, I wasn't really part of the YouTube generation. It's other people who've told me to do it. People like Adam, who's one of my listeners, Adam Cowling. He's the geezer who gave me the lights, donated the lights. People have been saying to me for ages, my best mate Phil, you must do TikTok. Well, I'm on TikTok now, and I put up AI, my assistant. He puts up clips and they go bonkers. They go bonkers on Facebook on Reels because he does them for that as well. It all happens automatically. He's not a real person. And then it puts them on that other thing, TikTok. It's incredible. And the reaction you get, you seem to get a bigger reaction for like a 30-second or 15-second thing where you say something like, Starmer's like, maybe I could do that rather than having to do this every night for half an hour. I don't know. Although I like this. I like long form, as they call it. Interesting that Qatar is using German-supplied air defense systems to protect American airbase. Yeah, that is interesting, actually. All these things are going to blend together, aren't they? I don't know. Anyway, that is me done. I just need to know whether you agree. That is Starmer failing us. We've had RAF aircraft sabotage on UK soil. No arrests. I wonder if they're Ukrainian models. Migrants are flooding by thousands. The government stays silent. Trump bombs Iran and doesn't even bother consulting Starmer. Is there an enemy within? And most importantly, is Starmer failing to keep you safe? Thank you very much indeed for watching and listening tonight. I'm not cooking tonight. I think Lisa's doing it at the moment. She's just had a hair done. She's good. That's good. I'll be back tomorrow at 6:30. Hope you can join me then. The way things are going, I could well be doing extra ones. So keep out for that. Keep an eye out for that. Best way to know what I'm doing when I'm doing it is to subscribe. It's free to YouTube. If you've never been on YouTube, it's dead simple. Go on your phone, type in YouTube, it'll come up. Join the app, it's free, and then look for Jon Gaunt TV. Simple, it comes up, and then there's the first time you go to look at my videos, it will say, want to subscribe? Just go, yes. Just click yes. It's not costing you anything doing that. It isn't. And then what happens is you get a little nudge every time Gaunty's going to do a video, telling you in advance there's one coming up. Not only that, there's 800 videos on there. A lot of them are my old stuff. They're just the old radio shows from ages ago. And some of them aren't viewing to the public. But every single show I've done recently is there. And you can either look at them as a video, you can download them as a podcast, you can watch the original live show, you can watch anything you want. It's all there. And you can tell your mates. And then, of course, you can forward it to your mates. It doesn't cost you a penny. So you've got to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button now if you're watching live. Dead simple. Just press it now. It's just there. Look. Excuse me. I've still got this cough. But if you go later, because you've been listening on a podcast, go to YouTube, Jon Gaunt TV, and then click on subscribe. Right, Lord Kilbacken says, ta-ra, Chucks, ta-ra. Maggie Young's got loads of give me the claps. Thank you, 3 claps. Great show, John, says Peter Adams. Maggie Morley says, cheers, John. Cheers to you as well. If you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, 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 don't forget to tell them you love them. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. I'm an amateur. See ya.